This here is what we're gonna be putting in the car. We powder coated the valve covers in the intake, upper and lower. Forward light blue, and then the block we did in a just a standard forward blue. Let's see if I can get you in here to see the front cover. Front cover's forward light blue as well, but it's a 4.6 4 valve dual overhead cam mod motor. It's got a TED skid block out of either they came in a mid 90s, like 96 to 98 Lincoln Mark 8s, and they also came in the 96 to 98 Cobra Mustangs as well. It's an aluminum block, only weighs about 80 pounds, so it takes quite a bit of weight off the nose of the car. And let's see, it's got 03 Cobra Terminator crank. It's a forged crank from the factory, and they're pretty stout. They came in the 03, 04 Cobras that were supercharged. And then let's see, it's got a set of manly rods in it with ARP 2000 rod bolts. It's got a set of JE pistons, forged pistons, with a set of Total Seal, their AP steel ring package. Let's see, it also the heads in it. On these, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but on these there's absolutely zero aftermarket 4.6 4 valve heads out there. Nobody makes them. You know, they make 2 valve heads, you know, for them, but 4 valve heads nobody makes aftermarket. You can get a few from Ford Racing, but they're pretty much what you can get off of like a GT 500 or the Ford GT. You know, they don't flow that much more than like 03, 04 Cobra heads or any of the 4.6 4 valves and like the Lincoln Aviators and so on and so forth. So we went ahead and got a set of heads off of a 05 Lincoln Aviator 4.6 4 valve for a few reasons, mainly because these particular engines, 4.6s and 5.4s, were notorious for blowing spark plugs out of the head. They just didn't have sufficient amount of threads in the cylinder head to retain the spark plug. So eventually they'd blow them right out of the head, and you'd have to either put a new head on it or put a lock and stitch, helicoil in it, and put a new plug in it. But on the late 04 up to 05, they came out with an updated casting that has 9 spark plug threads in the head now, so you don't have to worry about blowing the plugs out of them. And the earlier ones also had issues with cooling systems, and this driver's side head would get hot and start making noise, would start pinging, because they had inadequate cooling to that particular cylinder head. And they sell cooling system mods for them that you can do, but if you can find a 04, 05 cylinder head off like an Aviator or even later Mach 1s, 04 Mach 1s, they're an actual new casting, upgraded casting that Ford came out with to address that issue, so you don't have to worry about doing that either. So and they're direct bolts on. The only thing I had to do to the Aviator heads to bolt them to the stud 6 block was to let's see here. Oh, this right here, this had a freeze plug in it on an Aviator. Oops, sorry. This right here had a freeze plug in there, so I had to punch out the freeze plug and buy this. People call this the crack pipe, but they come on Cobras and Mach 1s and a lot of the other 4-valve stuff. So you can just knock the freeze plug out of there, install that, and that'll run to your heater core, along with this pipe right here that goes up to the back of the water pump through the valley there. Then we got a spec billet aluminum flywheel, and we got the over here we got the a spec dual friction clutch setup. So we'll be running that with their weighted flywheel, or excuse me, weighted pressure plate. So that's what we'll be running on that. The intake manifold, upper and lower, is off a 04 Mach 1 4-valve Mustang. Same with the throttle body that we got. Front cover's off a 4-valve Mach 1 Mustang as well. But everything else went back on it, so all the accessories will work on it. You know, your power steering, your alternator, water pumps, AC compressor, all that shit will bolt right back up to it. But the one mistake I did make was on these valve covers. I needed to get a set of valve covers, 4-valve valve covers, and I saw a set of 4-valve Cobra valve covers for dirt cheap, and I jumped on them, you know, not thinking, just looking at the pricing, I'll get a hell of a deal. Well, these are 96 to 98 Cobra valve covers, and if you're not familiar, in 96, 98, the Cobras had they didn't have coil on plug. They had, you know, they had 2 coil packs, one over here, and then one up there. They had 4, you know, posts on each one, or one to each cylinder. You know, 4 over here and 4 over there. And so this part of the valve cover is different. It's not as deep. So when you try to stick a, let's see here. When you try to stick one of these coil-on plugs down there, they don't reach it. They don't go down far enough. This has to be cut out more. That's how it is on the coil-on plug ones. They're quite a bit deeper. They're dished out around here, so this will go all the way down and hit the plug. So I had to get a set of later model 4-valve valve covers. I ended up getting ones off the 96, 97, 98 ones. Sorry about that, my daughter interrupted me. But let's see. So the only difference in the valve covers is right here. They're quite a bit deeper, so the coil and plug will slide down and actually make contact with the plugs. Let's see. I went with the BR7 EF plugs in this because this motor is going to be boosted. We're going twin turbo on it. At this point, we're probably going to do a set of 62s. And going with a CG Fab hot side, and building our own cold side. And but this is what it's going in. It's kind of covered up, all kinds of parts and shit. But it's a 2004 GT Mustang, you know, with a 464 or 2-valve, excuse me. You got a bunch of the wiring out, wiring in all the gauges and shit. But bought the car. So yeah, it's 2004 GT, 462 valve. It had headers and long tube headers, next pipe, and a few other odds, and then it had a K member already in it, and a few other little things. But we bought the car, and shit, you know, had it about 3 days. Yanked the motor out. The motor ran great. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't what we were looking to do. But so we ripped the motor out, trans out, sold all that shit off, recouped quite a bit of our money, and painted the engine bay, and got some wiring. And then we got to touch up, finish up, and then fuel line sitting over there. We still got to run, but went ahead and got rid of the fuel tank, and going with fuel tank here, or excuse me, fuel cell. This is a 15-gallon fuel cell, and we're gonna be running E85 on this particular vehicle. So we got 2 of the AEM 380 liter per hour pumps, external pumps that we'll be running, and 2 Aeromotive adjustable fuel pressure regulator that's boost referenced. We're planning on going on, anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds of boost, probably in between there, somewhere around 25. As a street car / track car, just to have fun with, and so not a lot of room in here, but we make it do. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I think the turbos that we're gonna go with are just a couple of the Billet BorgWarner S362s, maybe 366s. I'm not sure, but we'll probably just go 362s because they're pretty inexpensive and they're really solid turbochargers. So it's probably what we're gonna do. We're gonna stick with the T5, or excuse me, the T3650 5-speed trans for as long as it'll last. But I'm sure it won't last long. It'll probably snap an input shaft before we get too far down the road, I'm sure. But we're gonna run it till it gives up, and then we'll figure out something from there. But yeah, so if that's the game plan, that's what we're powder coating right now, is replace these valve covers. If anybody needs a set of valve covers for 96 to 98 Cobra, or anything that uses coil packs and spark plug wires instead of coil on plugs, I'll sell them cheap, $80. You pay the shipping. That's what I got into them, or that's what I paid for them, minus the powder coating. But I ain't worried about it. So it's got ARP head studs, ARP main studs, and ARP rod bolts as well. It's got a Moroso 7-quart oil pan with the trap doors on it to keep oil in the sump. It's got all new Ford Racing timing set, all new chains, tensioners, guides. What else? It's also got we went with GT500 cam followers and lifters, and then we put a set of 98 Cobra intake and exhaust cams in it, because them were one of the better years. They ran good duration on intake and exhaust compared to the later years 4-valve cams. So a pretty good upgrade to run on these. So we put a set of them in there, and yeah, I'm thinking that's about it right now. We got a 4 oh fuck, if I get a hold of it. This thing ain't gonna focus probably. 4 billet fuel rails, and we're gonna be going with probably 105 pounders, right around 1000 cc injectors. Because like I said, we're gonna be running E85, so we're gonna need the fuel. And so yeah, that's about it right now. So keep you updated. We're gonna go out and check to see what this valve covers look like. I'm gonna slap some paint on them and see how they turn out. All right.